Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by love. Count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People live and laugh, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again in love. I can hardly wait.
Love Will Reign. Thank you, Kiera Coleman Ward, one of my favorite songs and our theme song for the Love and Stuff community. Thank you for joining us, whether you are watching us here live from the Love and Stuff community page or the Marcus R. Holmes page here on Facebook, on Twitch TV, YouTube events, Twitter, or whether you are watching us on another podcast that has been shared or paired with our channel. We're grateful that you are here and grateful to be on the journey with you. And I am so excited because one of Love and Stuff's favorite couples have consented to come back fresh off their 11th anniversary, and they are here to share with you some answers to some of the burning questions that some of you have and have dropped in the inbox. And if you have a burning question, we may be able to entertain it. So drop it in the comments right now. We're excited to have this couple. I am excited because they met right here on Facebook. Imagine that. And here they are 11 years later, full of life and love and joy, and willing to share what that looks like in relationship. And we're excited to have them here. So I ask that you'll take a moment, click share, tag 5 of your closest connections or Facebook friends or Twitter followers or subscribers on YouTube, 5 of the more popular ones, to join us in tonight's discussion. We're talking Lovin' the Clevelands, and we absolutely do here in the Love and Stuff community. Taft and Sue Cleveland are joining me now. I'm excited to have them. Thank you all for joining me. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so happy anniversary. I know I closed out the last time you were with me, giving you a happy anniversary in advance. So let me ask, how does it feel? Does it feel like 11 years?
No. Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
And ready to go 100 more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You should see your smiles. That is so encouraging for our community to see that. It's almost a little giddy. And I love it. I love it because there are so many people, Taft and Sue, who hope to have the kind of love that you're enjoying. So I hope that this gives them some hope for anybody who wants to have that kind of love. So just for those that are tuning in that haven't gone back yet to watch the other show, tell us just a little bit, give us a snippet of how the two of you met 11 plus years ago.
My side of the story is he slid in my DMs.
my
sliding in the DMs still works. Okay.
It's going down in the DM.
There you go.
My version would be that it only took 2 times for her to realize that I was the one for her.
Mm-hmm. Only 2. I love it. I love it. Slide in the DMs and it only takes 2. I love it. I love it. And here you are 11 years later as a successful architect and engineer, a successful entrepreneur, a blended family, and a host of great stories and memories down the road of 11 years. Yeah. So we got a ton of questions that we want to ask, but I wanted to open because you guys got married, a beautiful October autumn wedding. I was there, gorgeous bride. Of course, Sue is gorgeous without a wedding dress in anything she wears, right? I remember that day, and I remember, and I think I shared before, I haven't seen Taft as settled and happy as he is now with you. Going back for a minute to that day, tell us a little bit about the excitement of that day when you were finally going to make this marriage solidify. Tell us a little bit about that day.
I think the greatest thing that happened that day was Pastor Perkins assigned me the task of finding a lady in waiting, someone who could know me well enough to make decisions for me so that anything that was going wrong, I had no idea of. And the bride was sequestered and no one could. Pastor Perkins also had my phone taken away from me.
Wow.
So that you're only focusing on what's about to happen and none of the bad stuff.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. That was his advice. He said that's the way he does it.
Wow. Excellent, excellent. And Taff, what do you remember of that day since your bride was sequestered away? So you all had the real not seeing each other in those moments, right?
Yeah.
What was your thought in that day?
Uh, there are two things that jump out. One was having Pastor and Pastor Sharp, who at the time was Sue's pastor, and Adrian. It was the four of us that was. We actually had walked outside, and so we were in the back room, which is usually the room that you walk past to go down the stairs to get to the basement. Usually it was used for like a prayer warriors would have prayer time back here, but it was just the fact that the four of us was in that room and we were just able to just talk and relax. And Pastor Sharp, with their personalities, just made the whole experience go a little bit smoother, less stressful. And then the fact that we had our all of our families there, and we had a concert, as you know, just praise and worship from the beginning to the end. And I think that was Sue's way of just giving back to everyone that we loved and appreciated over this journey.
Yeah. We're talking to
Hey,
Taff.
did they
Oh, go
take
ahead.
you outside so you could run away if you wanted to? Because most of the time, what they do is they'll tell the guy, okay, man, if you don't want to do this is the time. You can always say no.
And that would have been the perfect time because it was two doors, one to go in and one to
Right,
go out.
Yeah.
So
right,
no one would have noticed that I was gone.
right,
And I was upstairs, so I wouldn't know.
right, right. We're talking to Taff and Sue Cleveland, and you can already see the love that's oozing out of them from this beautiful wedding of the year 11 years ago. That was it was a concert of all concerts and a beautiful bride of all brides and a wonderful union of unions. And so I want to ask you, those fires of autumn wind were blowing then. How do you keep the fire still burning today? How do you keep that fire in the relationship?
What he does to me is he tickles my funny bone.
Mm,
Um, all he has to do is get me laughing, and that's just it. We
mhm.
laugh. Not really. We do laugh at each other. Yeah, we laugh at each other, but in a loving way. But we find, my opinion is, it's the way he makes me laugh.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's a hoot,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
And
that lights my fire.
that lights the fire, that laughter.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things that first attracted you to him, his sense of humor? Was that one of the things?
No, what attracted me to him in the first place was his honesty when we finally sat down for the first time. It was
Mhm.
the honesty
Mhm.
that he
Mhm.
was imperfect
Mhm.
and he had
And
a lot going on.
yeah. And so Tav, do you know that that you're making Sue laugh is helps to keep the fire going? Did you know that?
Yeah, every now and then she would say, "I love to laugh,"
Mhm.
Yeah.
and anything that is on TikTok or Facebook or on Instagram
Mhm.
that she finds funny, she will stop whatever she's doing to show me and just start laughing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I know that that's part of her makeup, that she takes a
All the
lot of things
time.
in life serious, but she doesn't take herself serious.
Mhm.
And so I think either one of us will laugh at our, some of the blunders we make.
All the time.
And so we try to make life what it is,
Mhm.
and not take it so seriously that um, it ends up hurting one
Mhm.
of us as
Mhm.
far as getting to know each other,
Mhm.
or our head doesn't get too big and thinking, oh my
I'm
gosh,
all that.
you're
Mhm.
right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Exactly.
And what does Sue do for you, Tap, that helps to keep the fire burning? What does she do to or for you that you can share? That you can share. Let me make sure I say it right.
See, I'm glad that you said that I could share.
I
Um,
know you, so I had to back that up.
no, I think she has, her mind is so unique.
Mhm.
There's never a dull day.
Mm.
There's always um, there's always something that changes every day,
Mm.
and so that makes everything fresh.
Mhm.
I remember uh, there was a couple of times when we were dating, she would visit Greater Christ, and people didn't know who she was because she was always changing her hairstyle, always changing her clothing style. And you know, they made it seem like I was bringing in different people instead of the one, and I had to tell them no, it's the same person.
Yeah.
And so I think she brings that freshness, that edge, that creativity to anything in life. It's not just with fashion, it's not just with cooking, it's not just with you know, what she does as far as her business. I think it's just in general. She's whatever the holiday, she's gonna bring something different. And I think that keeps everything fresh and it keeps it alive.
I love it. I love it. We're talking to Taff and Sue Clevelands. We're calling this series Lovin' the Clevelands because we absolutely love them and we love their story, having met on Facebook. And here they are 11 years later, walking, living, breathing their love. And we love it. And I wanted to go back to something that you both said, that you learn not to take yourselves too seriously. I think that it must be very important in a relationship because you could get lost in, you're right, I'm wrong, you made a blunder, I didn't, that type of thing. So I wanted to ask you, do you ever go to bed angry, mad, or upset with each other?
Oh, I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. And I know the Bible says you're not supposed to go to sleep on your anger, but I also drink too. And sometimes too much. And I tell fibs and lies, flat out lies. I do a lot of things the Bible says not to do. And one of them is to go to bed. Oh, wow. Mad, angry. But I don't, do I attack you? Do you even know I'm mad when I go to sleep?
I think there are times when I know she's upset because the way she grabs the remote control snatches it from me, or if I try to take it from her, she will grab it even and just take it from me. Or every now and then, I think she gets angry in her dreams for whatever reason. I think if she sees a scary picture or she sees someone where like the husband may have done something and the wife gets upset, if she watches that and in the middle of the night, I may get a tug on my arm. I'm thinking, what's wrong with her? I think it's because of those type of things that she just takes it too far. And I'm just like, why are you so angry? What did I do? I was watching this movie and this guy did something
to his
wife, and that made me mad. I'm like, what that got to do with me? So it's just like, chill.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with her, man. I just don't know.
So are you the calm? So Sue, is he the calm to that? Is it ever a time that he comes to bed angry, or is he the calm to that? Like, hey, why are you getting so upset? How does that balance work?
I don't know. If he's upset, he usually doesn't show it. If I'm upset, I'm going to get really, really, really quiet because I'm afraid I'm going to say something that's like an egg hitting the ground. I might not be able to put it back together. So I may be mad for 3, 4, 5, 2 weeks, but I don't really say anything about it because a lot of times, Mr. Marcus, what I'm mad about has nothing to do with what I'm mad about.
Got you.
And I have to make sure that it's really an issue, it's really a thing. Otherwise, it could be the least little thing he says or does could rub me the wrong way. But the problem is really me. It could not even be intended to hurt. But once I get mad, I stay mad until I change my mind. But people don't really know I'm mad.
Got it. I would imagine that you guys have to create then a very safe space to be able to do that. How do you get to that safe space where he understands what you just said, that maybe the mad isn't really about him, or you understand when he gets mad that maybe he isn't gonna verbalize it as much. Sometimes, men, we have to work at that, right, Dad? Sometimes we got to work at verbalizing how we're feeling. We just keep it moving. So how do you create that safe space so that he knows that he's in a safe space, and more importantly, you know that, hey, if I'm going for 2 weeks on something, as I'm working through this anger, being angry and then not, or however you're working through it, How did you create that safe space for each other?
Perfect example. My girlfriend was on the phone, and I forgot she was even on the phone. And when I got done talking to Taft and I went back to the conversation, she said, "That was so beautiful." I said, "What was so beautiful?" She said, "You just told him I can see clearly that what I'm saying is annoying you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my work area and I'm going to let you think this through and we can come back and talk about it later." And she said that most people are going to keep pounding their point across, and you're going to hear me, and you're going to hear me right now, and rah, 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 rah. But I'm a retreater. And like I said, it's probably best that I do retreat and think, because a lot of times I am not right at all. And I don't want to make something a mountain when it's not.
Wow.
So I have to reflect on me and my personality, and I just need to go somewhere. Oh, this is a public thing, and just drink
Uh,
a big tall glass of
yeah.
shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people are so anxious to get their point across that
Mhm.
they don't take time to reflect and look at themselves. I
Mm.
can get on my own nerves. So
Mhm.
I can't even imagine what
Mhm.
listening to me has to be like.
Wow. I think that must have required some maturity, growth for you both. Because I think, a lot of times, and not being married, in relationships, you want to be right
Yes.
sometimes. And sometimes if you're right, you are pounding that point,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Not only because you think you're right, but because you're right, even if you aren't right, but just because you think it, right? So you're pounding that point. So it takes something to say, you know what, I could get on my own nerves. I need to back up and really
Mhm.
think on this and think on approach and think on, maybe I don't need to say it now or ever. I think that must take some growth. Was it always that way in this relationship? Or is that something you both had to grow too?
I think it's always, to me, it's always been a balance. I don't
Hmm.
know.
For me, I think you have to. For me, I had to grow there. I
Hmm.
think I am. I do not like conflict,
Hmm.
and so if there's conflict, I internalize it a lot.
Hmm.
And instead of just voicing how I feel, sometimes I let it fester too long.
Hmm.
Um, and that's something that I'm still working on.
Hmm.
But when I do acknowledge it, it's knowing that there is a safe space that we can talk.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times the the space is not safe at all because you're thinking about winning.
Hmm.
I'm gonna get my point across. I'm gonna win. You're gonna lose. That's the end of discussion.
Hmm.
And when you don't have that safe space, you can easily harm someone. And I
Hmm.
know for guys, we can say things that can really, really hurt women.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so I'm cognizant of that fact that when I'm about to speak, that I'm not trying to hurt her. I'm
Hmm.
just trying to let her know how I feel
Hmm.
and let her know that um, we can work this out. But at this moment, something's just not right,
Hmm.
and it may not be there may not be a need to solve it at that point, but
Hmm.
at least to get it out there so she knows how I'm feeling. Because if I don't say anything, how would she know?
Right.
And I'm not one to walk around and sucking my teeth and rolling my eyes and being short. If she's trying to have a conversation and or hoping that she gets it by looking at my body movement.
Hmm.
So I try to at least give her the benefit of the doubt of saying this is how I'm feeling about this, um, so that she knows about it. And having that safe space is key.
I love it. I love it. We're talking with Taff and Sue Cleveland, loving the Clevelands. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to ask you both, what was the biggest personal adjustment that each of you had to make in this relationship? We want to hear that when we come back. We'll be right back. Click share, click like right now, invite somebody to join. You may find a way in this conversation to increase the love in your relationships. We'll be right back. Thank you, Christina Smith, the money coach. If you want to get your finances in order, Christina is right in our Love and Stuff community, and you can reach her here and get maybe a free consultation to get your money aligned with your love. Speaking of love, we love this couple that we're looking at. You guys slide in closer to each other so we can get your full faces in the frame. There we go. This is Taff and Sue Cleveland, one
You
of
making
Love
us get closer with our COVID weight.
and
We ain't gonna
Stuff.
fit. We
I
ain't gonna
love it.
fit. Okay, here we go.
I love it. I love it. And fresh off your 11th anniversary, congratulations. We are so excited to have you tonight. And what I say is a series all about loving the Clevelands, and we absolutely do love you. So the question that I wanted you to consider before the break, what was the biggest personal adjustment that each of you had to make going into this relationship or over these 11 years?
Distance.
Distance.
Definitely.
Tell us a little bit more.
Just the wear and tear of me going back and forth from Michigan to Chicago and back every single week is a lot.
Yeah.
I look back now and I wonder how I even did it. I don't know how I did that. How I got on the train with suitcases full of canned goods and frozen meat because everything was so high in Chicago. I physically don't know how I did it. I don't.
And for our listeners that don't know, soon after, or maybe just before, help me with the order. You got a job offer, Taff, in Chicago, right? You all had just purchased a home in Detroit or in East Point or somewhere in Detroit, right?
Right.
And you guys moved to Chicago, were blessed to stay in a fantastic place with people that really just believed who you were, your reputation, right? The favor of the Lord took you to Chicago, and Sue is going back and forth from Chicago
every week,
Detroit to Chicago to Detroit to Chicago to Detroit.
Yeah.
Right.
What is that absence of space when it should be honeymoon time? Tell us about what that personal adjustment looks like. What did that look like?
You're really, really happy to see that person when you come back. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. It can be true. It can.
Yeah.
But I think when people said that, they were anticipating that person, going to work or going out of town for a couple of days, not seeing each other once every 4 or 5 days for months.
It was hard to travel like that.
Yeah. But I think looking back, the sacrifices that we made, because Sue was taking care of the house in Michigan while I was here. And when she was here, she was doing dual roles. And so for anybody who hasn't been to Chicago, it's a crazy place when you are coming off the train, because where we lived, I had two choices. I can get a Zip car, which is one of these shared car companies where you pay per hour. So I would have to get the car and drive it to the station and wait. And sometimes Amtrak does not come on time. And so a lot of times the train station will close, and she will be, those that get on the last train are coming to a city that's closed. So I had to wait. And because our car was in Michigan. So if it wasn't that, it was Lyft or Uber. It was whatever I can do, taxi to get to her. And that was on a regular. I mean, that was like once a week. And so the sacrifices of just trying to meet each other and make things comfortable before she would come back to town, and then she had to do the same thing going back. And so it was hard. It was extremely taxing, I think, on our health. But the one thing that kept us going was knowing that we were building something. It was new. We knew that God was behind us the whole time, because he made every step of the way easier every time. Even in spite of the frustration, he came through every time. And so I think because we had been married before, we had expectations of what this marriage would be, but we were still um, fresh and new with this, and just trying to figure out how do we even navigate through this when we're in two different states,
Mm-hmm.
a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
when people live on, could live on the west side or on the east side of Detroit and have issues because you see each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just trying to maximize it and make it the best way we could. Um, but it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, it's amazing how we are here right now.
Yeah. And I was going to delve in that to a little bit more to ask you both about, but you mentioned it, that it um, had an impact on your physical, on your health. And so I wanted to
Correct.
hear about that, the impact it had physically, the impact it had emotionally. I would imagine that, can be an emotional roller coaster if you're going to only see each other, once a week and maybe for a day, or I don't know how many days. You can tell us that. And what was the impact to you spiritually? So physically, emotionally, spiritually, what were the impacts?
Mm, I don't. It was all so much. I can't even recall. I think back and I just know it was a lot, but it wasn't like horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was just a sacrifice I had to make.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, yeah, it was a lot. I'm diabetic. I'm trying to keep up with my sugar. I'm eating train food,
Mm-hmm.
which I shouldn't have to, eat, but
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know. It's just like that song, How I Got Over.
Mm-hmm.
I look back and wonder how I got over. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll never understand this one, Mr. Marcus, but that journey we went through is almost like childbirth. I know it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was giving birth to something beautiful came
Mm-hmm.
forward, but God has a way of not allowing you to remember just how bad it hurt. You
Mm-hmm.
know it hurt, but
Mm-hmm.
to be able to describe the pain or say this is how it is,
Mm-hmm.
uh, women do it too many times over and over again for
Mm-hmm.
it to be something so horrible that we couldn't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's
I
the
was going to
only thing I
ask
can
that,
say.
Sue, as a follow up. Would you do it again?
Yes, for him, yes. With
Yes.
him,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm. And
Some
Taff, would
other
you?
joker, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
No.
I was just going to add, Marcus, that
Mm-hmm.
I think when I just look back at, if someone is in the military and that spouse knows that their significant other is going to the military,
Mm-hmm.
it's automatically um, assumed that there's going to be long periods of time that you're going to be off in another foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way our journey was, there was really no one to say, how did you get through this? Because our relationship was a one off. Because how many people do you know live in a different state, just got married, and you're not seeing each other but what, two or
I
three
was I
days?
was on 3 days and off 4 days. 4 days in Michigan, 3 days in Chicago.
Right.
Wow.
So it's like every 4 days
With your
you would
new
see.
husband who you met on Facebook.
Right. And
I
so
love
that's I would not use that as a way of saying, yeah, just do that. Get married, move out of state, and it'll work out, because you
it.
still have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because we knew that going in, it made us depend on each other and communicate with each other a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I would definitely do it again. I probably
Mm-hmm.
would be a little bit, I think we'd be a little bit smarter in how we do it. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we just dove both feet into the water and just did it.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever way we was going to make it work, we was going to make it work.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think the beautiful thing was that we just made it work.
Yeah. I think you all are so committed to the relationship and to each other. Some of what Sue said, I think you probably wouldn't be able to remember all of the detail because it was the commitment and love that bore the heavy parts of that. Would
Yeah.
that be a fair statement?
Very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What would you tell other couples about commitment that they should prepare themselves for? Because it wasn't what you planned. You planned to, live in your home or didn't plan to have this kind of transcommute relationship, right? So,
Right.
what would you tell couples about investing in commitment? What's the commitment about?
If you're not committed, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's for
Yeah.
better or worse. And if you're not in it all the way, don't even start it.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you won't go the distance for that person,
Mm-hmm.
if they're not worth it, or you feel like you're being taxed, then maybe that's not the person for you, because there's nothing he can ask me to do that I have within my power that I won't, and it's not a burden. He's not heavy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you can't go all the way, you can't commit, just don't.
Mm-hmm. Tab, would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I keep going back to Mother Davenport.
Be cool.
Be cool. Mother Davenport was the mother of the church that I attended when I was in grad school in Milwaukee, and I lived in a parish house with her. And she was just this sharecropper that was in Arkansas, that just brilliant, smart, funny,
Hilarious.
but had so much wisdom.
Mm.
And I just remember when you asked her, what's kind of like, what's the secret in life to like happiness, or just, what's the one thing that you would tell people that they would need in life?
Because she was what, 1,000 years old?
Yeah, she's about 100 at the time. And she just said, be cool, and coming out of 100-year-old mouth, that you can only imagine what she experienced in life.
Right.
For her to just say be cool, we was thinking something like real deep, like or even scripture like trust in the Lord, the typical things that people say. We were not anticipating be cool. And that made us laugh and made us think, life is what it is but a vapor. Just enjoy it. Just maximize the moments. Don't worry about the quantity, just worry about the quality. And I think, when you're in a relationship, you have to keep those things in the back of your mind, because it will get taxing. It will get hard. There are going to be times where you're going to say, I love her, but did I make the right choice at that moment? Or she get on my nerves. I'm pretty sure she probably said the same thing. He get on my nerves. I don't know why I said I do to him, but you just laugh at it and say, what does God want us to do next? And we just look at, the next step, and just trying to support each other and love each other through whatever we're going through. And that's what makes the commitment real. Because a lot of times when you're in a relationship, if you're only focusing on what's happening to you, it's going to be a negative output, because that's all you're focusing on is just things that you don't have no control over. But for us, we try to just focus on what's real. And that's what makes the commitment what it is.
Yeah. This is Loving the Clevelands. We absolutely love the Clevelands in the Love and Stuff community, Tap and Sue Cleveland. And I want to ask you, because I kind of get the sense that the commuting was a big challenge for you, maybe the biggest challenge for you. And I can imagine that there are tons of couples that might not last in a long distance or kind of commuting relationship. That aside, what would you say is your next biggest challenge in your marriage, to your relationship, and how have you overcome it?
I can't think of anything. He's really easy to love. I don't know.
I would say the one thing that I just looking back on is, yes, the distance was in itself, it could be crazy, but we had definitely had fun with it on the Amtrak train. Just observing people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the one thing that I probably could say um, is the level of communication and just understanding when is the right time to bring something to her,
Mhm.
when is the right when is the to bring something to her,
Mhm.
um, and just being open and transparent.
Mhm.
I think that has helped.
Mhm.
And I think that even now when we talk about things, there are times when we pull each other to the side and say, okay, let's talk about this.
Mhm.
And then there are other times where she would just say, I'm thinking about this. I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just letting you know what I'm thinking. And
Mhm.
so for me, that puts me at ease because we want to solve everything.
Mhm.
And so it lets me know, okay, she's just trying to let me know what she's thinking or how she's feeling. And so that gives me pause to figure out, okay, what does she really want? She just wants my attention.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times, if you don't have that, you automatically start thinking of how you're going to solve it,
I don't
how,
always
how,
want you
how
to.
you how you going to answer the question ahead of time without listening. So I think the listening and the communication is so vital. And I think, we haven't mastered it, I would say,
Mhm.
in the 11 years, but I would say during this pandemic, we have definitely learned how to understand each other and communicate with each other.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And just as follow up to that, Taff, what would you say has been the biggest lesson around communication that you could pass to our community to say, what's the biggest lesson?
I would probably say the biggest lesson is the pause and listen.
Mm.
Um, I think we're so geared when someone is trying to tell us something that we're just ready to go,
Mhm.
get it out the way, let's move on to the next thing,
Mhm.
and you miss out on just
Mhm.
being still and listening.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, what I found is by listening to her, it could be something that I'm going through that's helping me.
Mhm.
She may not know it, but it's helping me to understand how I can be better for her. Or she may be saying something that's telling me, okay, this is what I need to do next,
Mhm. Mhm.
in an indirect kind of way.
Mhm.
So I would say, don't be so fast to try to solve the problem. Just be cool, listen, um, and then just be there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just be present in the moment,
Mhm.
and not your mind is somewhere else, but you're not in your head as if you're listening, but you're not really there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's nothing that is, I would say, that's bad. I think we do it all the time. Um, but when we value someone and their vulnerability, it's important to be there in that moment for them.
Mhm. Mhm. I've talked to a lot of different couples, and a lot of them say this, and I wonder if this resonates with you, that women want to be heard and men want to be a help. And
It's perfect.
Yep.
if he can't help, he's not really hearing. He's trying to hear, and she just wants to be heard. Is
Mhm.
that true?
That's very true.
Yeah.
A lot of times something is going through my head, and if I don't say it out loud, it sounds different when I say it out loud. So I may even tell him, I'm not looking for an answer. Don't try to figure this out for me.
Mhm.
This is my thought. And I have learned now, when I talk to my friends, I let them talk, and then I say, did you want me to just listen, or do you want to hear my thoughts on it?
Mhm.
And sometimes they'll tell me, no, I just needed to get it out there. I needed to say it out loud. So I think that's not a couple's lesson, but just a grown-up lesson. Sometimes people don't even want you to try to figure it out. They just need to say it out loud.
That's
And
good.
a lot of times you can tell when they really want to just vent and tell you what's going on, because there's no question mark at the end. There's no, the way they phrase their sentences is not in a question. They're just telling you what's going on. So it forces you to listen and be more in tune and just nod your head and just be there.
We're talking to Tab and Sue Cleveland. We're loving the Cleveland. So you should click share no matter which platform you are on tonight, because I think that you will find gems in this conversation that will increase the worth and value and safety of your relationship. So we're so pleased to have them fresh off their 11th anniversary. I want to ask, before we get to the what are the 3 things that couples should and shouldn't do before we get there, I want to ask Tab, what is Sue's favorite color?
Black.
Is that right, Sue?
Yes.
Yes. And what's Tab's favorite food?
Anything I cook.
Anything you cook. Is that right, Tab?
That's right.
How do you advise couples about getting to know each other?
Watch, and be a careful watcher so that you can be a lover who anticipates. If you watch him, if you watch her, then you're going to know what it is that's going to make them happy. This isn't a couple's answer again. My daughter-in-law Kat she's one of those women that has everything. For her birthday, we sent her Barnum and Bailey's animal crackers, and she squealed and she went into them and she started eating them. That's from watching her and knowing almost every day she gets a handful of animal crackers. The same thing can be applied to your spouse or partner or anybody on this earth. You can throw them something that's extravagant and wonderful at them as a gift, but really, maybe they really like hummus and zucchini. So I think if you just watch what it is, be in tune, and then be a lover that is able to anticipate the wants and desires of the other person.
Okay. We're talking to Tab and Sue Cleveland, and we're going to take a quick break. Before we do, when we come back, I want to know, Tab and Sue, what are the 3 things that couples shouldn't do, and what are the 3 things that couples should do? Click share, click like, tag someone. This is gold. I'm telling you, you want to have a part of this gym conversation with this beautiful couple of 11 years plus. Loving the Clevelands. We'll be right back.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're gonna check it out. Can't wait to learn more.
That was MJ from Shahs of Sunset, and I hope you will join her in picking up your copy of The Gratefulness Journey every day, available now on Amazon. We're talking with Tab and Sue Cleveland, loving the Clevelands. I'm loving them, and I'm sure you are. Give us likes and loves if you are. And you can follow them here on Facebook. I want to give shouts out. Tab has been doing groundbreaking work in his work, and just awards everywhere, just making me proud all around the country. I'm the proudest big brother in the world. And Sue with this clothing line, I'm just, I can't even get words for it. So we're gonna have to do a fashion show. I got to figure it out how we can do a fashion show. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening for you individually, right before we get to our burning questions, because I think two whole people make a one, not two halves make a one. Two whole people make a one. So tell us about what's going on with some of the things and accomplishments for you individually.
I'm gonna let the big dog go first.
For the past 2 years, I have been researching a lot on food deserts, um, other known as food apartheid, where we start to look at the structural racism that is being embedded in urban cities and in rural areas, and how it impacts people of color, particularly African American communities, from having access to health care, access to transportation, access to um, healthy, clean vegetables and fruit in our neighborhoods, instead of seeing the liquor store, gas station, fast food that we particularly see. And I did it around hospitals that are in Detroit and expanding it to hospitals across the country. And because of that work, I have been, well, I presented in LA this year, presented in Napa, California, and just came back from San Antonio, Texas, where I had two amazing sisters from North Carolina who, in their own right, do excellent work in architecture and research. And so the three of us won industry MVP awards from the largest organization that deals with healthcare architecture, called Healthcare Architect. And so it has been just this wonderful journey of just getting started, and it's going to be more to come as we start to really dig down and try to add more life to our community and to our family by just having access to things that are not given to us based on the way our built environment was designed. And so I'm excited about it and just thanking God for the opportunity and the journey.
And so proud of you. Congratulations. Awesome.
And let me give y'all this one for free. Did you hear that his partners are two sisters? He wanted stuff to get done, okay?
Yeah. And speaking of a sister that can get stuff done, tell us about Mason Tone. Tell us about Honey Fashion. Tell us.
Oh, well, I took a new twist because my girlfriend's sister business partner said, you know what? You should go ahead and teach what you do so that other women can learn the skill. So I started doing shredding workshops and I sold out my first batch
Wow.
for September and I'm almost sold out for October. And what I do is I give a 2-hour workshop where I show women and men, if they want to join, they can. But really, my focus is on sisters that want to start their own business. They can come to me. They get a full kit. They get 2 hours of instruction, and they can go back and tell their friends, show them what they learned. And a lot of people are talking about having multiple streams of income.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to help women and men too go ahead and get that second stream or more
Mhm.
income so that they learn a little life skill that can make the money.
That is awesome. And where can people sign up? Is it at your Etsy store? Is there another place that they sign up?
Yeah, everything is through Etsy now. Ever since the pandemic, I do everything through Etsy. It makes it simple. They keep track of who checked in first. And yeah, everything is through Etsy.
Okay.
Yes.
And so is there a specific link that we should tell people to go to?
Oh, just my regular Etsy shop. And it's etsy.com/shop/Mason Tone by Honey.
Mason Tone by Honey. All right. Love it. Love it. I want
Yeah.
to get to these questions before we go. What are the three things that couples should not do?
Who you want to go first?
They shouldn't try to keep score.
Mm.
That happens a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and it can happen indirectly. Someone just trying to get the last word.
Mhm.
or it can be directly where someone really has a good memory and constantly brings it up in your face,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that causes people to be defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of trying to get to a common goal, now you're just at each other, because you're trying to keep score,
Mm-hmm.
and no one wins when you keep score.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So don't keep score. What else that couple shouldn't do?
I think couples should not compare.
Okay.
I think this goes back to what Sue was saying generally. When you compare, um, it brings in a whole lot of things that you're insecure about,
Hmm.
and when you're comparing yourself to either other couples, that could be dangerous,
Mm.
because you're now trying to live in a reality, and not in reality, but you're living a fiction. You're
Mm-hmm.
not being honest and transparent. You're just trying to keep up with the Joneses. So I think that comparison is very harmful,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't help relationships at all.
Okay.
And I think the last thing what couples should not do is, I think that they should not feel like they have to um, not be themselves.
Hmm.
Um, and that kind of goes back to, I think a lot of times people get tired of trying to measure up, and so they try to be something that's not who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that early enough in a relationship where you fronting, it's going to end up catching up to the person. And when they get to a point where they actually have a choice, they may resent that they um, decided to be with you, because they may feel like their choice was taken,
Mm.
because what they thought was you was someone else.
Mm. Okay. So you got three different ones. You got
Yeah,
what?
mine are actually different. Like I was
Okay.
telling you earlier, we decided not to talk about it to see what the other one was thinking.
That's wonderful.
My first one is don't make idle threats.
Hmm.
Don't say, if you do this, you can forget it and all that
Mhm.
stuff, because all you're going to do is offend the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to make them find another way to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make idle threats. If you're not going to leave like you said you were,
Mm-hmm.
don't even make the threat. Don't
Mm.
make idle threats.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also have down here, don't use with your partner words like always and never when you're referring to an action or something that you don't like
Mm.
about them,
Mm.
because nothing is always or never. It doesn't work like that. That's not real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I put down, don't keep someone that you don't trust, that you don't want, and you don't love.
Hmm.
Don't keep them and make them miserable and make yourself miserable. Just go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold on to somebody. They could be just right for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not right, don't try to force it. Just let it go.
I love it. I love it. Now tell us the three things that couples should do. What should couples do?
I put down that couples should defend each other,
Hmm.
whether it be family, friends, or a stranger.
Hmm.
If your spouse is disrespected, it is your job to straighten it out,
Mm-hmm.
not the other person. Don't let anybody talk bad. No one can say anything bad about that. Well, I mean, who would?
Mm-hmm.
But if someone were to, they would have a fight and a fit from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he was wrong, he and I can talk about it when we get home later.
Mm-hmm.
But in the public eye, there is
Mm-hmm.
no way. And you're not going to catch me on the phone saying, Tab, get on my nerves. He did this and that. If I had a feeling like that, I would talk to him, but I'm not putting his name down like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this one is from Pastor Perkins. Whoever, this is a do, whoever is best at it, let them have it.
Mhm.
If you're better at saving money than the other one, then let that person have it, and don't
Mhm.
let your ego make you think that you're the one who's supposed to be in charge of anything that's going on in the relationship. Let the person that's best at it have it,
Mhm.
and do laugh, 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 and laugh.
I love it. I love that. I love that. Tab, what about your dues? You got different dues, same dues?
I got different dues.
Okay. Okay.
I think one of my first dues is that you have to be prayerful. And I know that that comes cliche-ish now, but not just for you as a couple, but individually. You
Mhm.
have to have a prayer life that is strong enough to withstand anything
Mhm.
that you have that's coming in life,
Mhm.
and that helps me to cover her
Mhm.
when I know that she's going through things as well. And so a lot of times I may not talk about it; I just pray about it,
Mhm.
and then that way I know that it's going to.
Oh, we lost your sound. We lost your sound. Did you hit something?
No.
No, and it was
Oh,
good
you
too.
back. You back. Yeah, it looked like it was
It
good.
was good.
Uh-oh, now you froze. Uh-oh, it must be so good. It's shaking the energy. Okay, you froze. We'll give you a few seconds because it sounds like you were bringing us to a great close. We'll give them a second to get unfroze because they are sharing. Taff is now sharing his 3 do's for couples, and we want you to hear his 3 do's that couples should certainly do before we close. So we'll give them a chance to get unfrozen. And while we're giving them the chance to get unfrozen, I want to just bring to your attention the Sports Talk with Kamau and Felix have debuted their gear, and I want to give you the chance to see it. All right, looks like they are back with us. I'm going to give you a quick chance to see it while they're doing it. Their hoodies are available now on the site, hrpassionguy.shopify.com, and the sweatshirts. You can get either of those in every color. And so shouts out to Sports Talk with Kamau and Felix. They're doing a fantastic job with their show. It is a bi-weekly show on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And listen, whether you are a sports aficionado or whether you have a husband or boyfriend, husband or friend that is, you want to tune in and learn about sports because, ladies, there are things that you can do during the halftime, and they learn some of those things on Saturday that will help your husband, boyfriend, man see that you appreciate his man time in the man cave. And he might give you special pass access to it as well. So if you didn't watch that episode, you need to go back and watch it. And Christina modeled for us the t-shirt dress, and you want to definitely get one of those at shopify.com. So watch Kamau and Felix. You'll see their pages growing. They have their own sports talk group. You definitely want to support them as well. All right, I'm bringing our guests back. Looks
Are
like
we here?
Okay. All right. Can you hear us?
we can hear you. I'm so glad that we could because it sounds like you were about to tell us something great.
No, I think I left off by saying you just pray for each other and have a strong prayer life for yourself individually.
Mm-hmm.
That helps me to cover her, and instead of having conversations where I may be trying to figure it out myself, I just pray,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that God's going to work it out. One thing I do too is just love her unconditionally where she's at,
Mm-hmm.
and not love her where I think that she should be at.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we fantasize and say, okay, this is where you should be, but do we just meet them where they are?
Mm-hmm.
That goes both ways. Does she love me where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
even at my weakest?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to have that. And then thirdly, I tell Sue all the time that I have a miscellaneous that's a budget that is attached to everything that I think and do.
Mm-hmm.
And that miscellaneous is that area in your budget where you anticipate something happening and you save for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
It may not it often comes when you're not expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to have that space in your life where you hold a certain percentage of what you would give to anticipate whatever's going to happen in your relationship, whether it's something happens to a family, something happens to you on your job, something happens health wise, things that just come out that you just have no control over. You have to have a miscellaneous area and anticipate that, because anything that has a cost is going to have something that is going to come and hit you when you're not expecting it. And so having that space where we can have flex time to address whatever issue we see or whatever situation that comes, that's where I think every relationship should have that. Every business has it. And so if you think of yourselves as your own business, as your own brand, you have to have space to address those things, because if you don't and they sneak up on you, it's going to be a cost that's going to be greater than what you anticipated.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love the both of you. Before I let you go, that's a song, I think. Before I let you go.
Before I let go.
There you go. There you go. Someone is watching this or is going to watch this on Facebook, and they're in apps, they're in dating apps, they have searched high and low for that special love. And here the two of you all found each other on Facebook, and it worked out, is working out amazingly beautiful. What a beautiful portrait of love that we're able to see here tonight. Of 11 years, a culmination, a continuum of sacrifice and commitment and hard work and laughing, as you all said, which I think is amazing, and transparency. And I've appreciated how you shared so graciously with us. What do you want to leave for the people who have hope to find their Taft or their Sue? Not Taft, not this Taft or Sue, because then I'm gonna have to fight y'all, right? But Taft or Sue, they're looking for their Taft or their Sue, and they're here on Facebook. What would you give them in your parting words for tonight? Now, I still think I need a part 3 because I got more questions, but what would you say to them? Because there are a lot of people out here, Sue and Taft, who are hoping to experience what you're experiencing. And they're on Facebook saying, well, I saw someone who looks good to me, or someone slid in my DMs. What would you say to him and or her?
Wow. I would probably say, especially if you're looking online, don't wear a tuxedo. Don't wear a prom dress. Because everybody puts their best foot forward physically when you first are attracted to someone. But it's the other things that you do that when you don't wear that tuxedo, you show yourself to be vulnerable, compassionate, loving, have character. It's all those things that people overlook because they're so focused on the physical. And the physical is just one part of it. It's just, that gets you to the door, but you still have to open the door and find out who's behind the door. And if you, I think that's one of the first steps that I would tell people is just to guard your heart with it too. Because I think a lot of times the anticipation is, okay, you're going to meet someone, this is going to be it, but you still have to guard your heart with wisdom. But keep an open mind that it's the other things that is going to keep you, and looks are just going to keep you to the door, but it's not going to keep you from going beyond and looking for something deeper.
Okay. Sue?
I would say do what I did when I realized I was actually interested in Taft. I went to my pastor and I said, I'm not going to be around for a while. This guy's been trying to holler at me. I need to go over to his church and find out, are they teaching sound doctrine? Who is he hanging around? And that's why you all saw me at Greater Christ all the time, because I had to find out, was he really too good to be true, or was he just a fool? I don't know. They can tell you anything, but I want to see the circle you move in, and I want to hear from the people in your circle that I would consider influential and crucial. So I wanted to know what kind of doctrine he was learning. And the other thing I would say is, it doesn't hurt to give someone a chance, but there's some really deep things that bother me every day right now about people in dating, and they go for the physical, but there are other things you need to know. You need to know, in their family, do they have a history of invisible diseases? Do they have a sickle cell trait? We should not have Black people still being born with sickle cell. Do they have diabetes? What is it that is prominent in their family that may make you determine that I like this person, but I don't think I can live a life with someone with a debilitating disease, or someone whose family is full of this or that? I'm real passionate about that. When I talk to, both older boys, they're all set, but I talked to TC about that, that a woman can be beautiful, but you don't know about invisible diseases. You don't know about mental illness. You need to get into that person's personal history. When you decide that you want to be very, very serious, find out. You're going to have children with this person, find out what's going on in their family tree. Kind of, it's just my thing.
Okay.
And Marcus, I would like to add to that too. On a deeper level, we know that the older you get, the odds are that someone's going to have a child. So there may be there's going to be a chance for a blended family. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about raising someone else's child? Those are like real issues that I think a lot of people don't think of because they're just so in love with that person. And I think on another level with men is that there are sisters who have experienced violence, whether it be sexual violence or spousal abuse. And so those things are part of the package that you have to, I'm going to say that you have to deal with, but you have to accept. And those are things that come up in arguments or conversation that if you're not ready for it, it could be a deal breaker for a lot of people, even though she is a survivor. And vice versa. It happens to men too. Who ever thought that? So those are the conversations I think that you anticipate when you're talking to someone, not that you are, trying to dig in and find out what people have. But I think as people become more vulnerable and open to you, you have to be, ready for those conversations because that's real talk.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And my last question for you, and we're a few minutes over, but I love it. I love it. I love it. And we got to have you back next month. I'm going to have to bribe you with something. I don't know, but we're going to get you back. Do you think it's okay for a woman to shoot her shot on Facebook?
Yeah,
If she
I
sees
do.
the man that she wants or likes or whatever the criteria. Because you're right, Sue. I think a lot of time we get steeped. I'm going to use the word steeped in the physical. And while I believe that there has to be some attraction, I don't think you should be steeped in the physical.
I agree.
But I know that a lot of people are. But should a woman shoot her shot? I've been having this conversation in the inbox with people, and they're like, I just think that the man should let me know he's interested. I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman being assertive, not aggressive. And some men might like aggressive women, but assertive means that you know how to position your offer.
My answer is let her go for it. Does she want to be happy or right? Try it.
And I would add to that guys sometimes could be focused on so many things that oftentimes a woman has to drop hints little nuggets every now and then it'll eventually click, or somebody around the guy would say, "Hey, she really likes you," and you're like, "No, she don't really like me." And then, it occurs. We're not the way that men think are not on the level of women as far as being detailed. But there are times when women could be assertive and just letting the guy know, "Hey, I'm here," and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
I love it because I think there are a number of women in and around the Love and Stuff community who needed to hear that. And I kind of try to tie it back to something that you all affirmed earlier. A woman often wants to be heard. So if a man is really listening, a woman is telling you
Right.
that she's interested in you, even if she isn't using those words.
Right.
And ladies, a way to get that man's attention is to give him a way to help you because men love to help. It doesn't mean you have to be a damsel in distress, but you do need to give him an opportunity to help you.
Right.
It endears a man when he can provide safety and help to a woman.
Yes.
I've been telling women this, but they're just laying in the cut. I said, you're gonna keep laying in the cut and you're gonna miss the best thing. You're gonna miss your tab, not this tab, or you're gonna miss your Sue, not this Sue, because you won't shoot your shot. And shooting your shot doesn't mean being overbearing. It doesn't mean stalking.
Right.
You don't have to be out of character. You can be yourself, but you do have to be vulnerable enough to say, if I take a chance, it could work or not.
Mhm.
And you must be willing to take the chance.
I say so. Yeah.
And be willing to accept that it can go either way,
Yeah.
and it's okay because you tried, you gave it your best shot, and that wasn't the one for you. So there's someone out there for you.
I love it.
And I used to tell ladies, just grab something that needs to go to the dry cleaner, sit in the parking lot. And when that brother with all those dress shirts that need to be cleaned, that's when it's time for you to walk in with your dress right in behind him, strike up a conversation. But now it is pandemic kind of thing. And not a lot of men are going to the dry cleaner because they're working from home.
So true.
It used to be, I would tell them, just go to the grocery store in the fresh produce aisle. Just go. You got to eat. Just go. Take forever. Take all day to pick a plum. Just go and say, hey.
We're kindred souls. I often tell people in Love and Stuff to go to the grocery store.
Yes.
And go in the produce aisle and get that melon and act as if that melon is too heavy and ask the guy, would you mind helping me lift this melon? A guy loves to help. A guy loves to help. Could you help me carry this to my cart?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's not overbearing.
No.
It's assertive. An assertive person knows how to put their offer in front of somebody.
That's right.
Right.
Home Depot.
And that's all assertiveness is. Putting your offer. There you go. Home Depot. Which socket should I get?
Mhm.
Whatever it is, right?
Yes,
Right.
that's exactly how I tell women to do. Well, that was before the pandemic. I told them to do that all the time.
Yeah, Valencia's in the comments talking about the grocery store again. I'm telling you, because it works.
It does. It does. I wasn't looking for anyone, and I was really sincere when I couldn't carry my cart at the Goodwill. I couldn't take it up the stairs. I was sincere, but my voice changed to, sir, oh, sir, would you mind helping me get this upstairs?
There you go.
And he turned right around and did it. I said, oh, thank you. Tell everyone in your family that you really helped out a little old lady today. Thank you. Bye.
There you go. There you go. And with that, I want to thank you. I hope that you will prepare for part 3. I adore what you're offering here because I believe you give folks that want to have what you have or something like you have hope.
Yeah.
And that's what we want people to have, hope for the love that you're seeking. And it requires some prayer.
Yeah.
It requires some sacrifice. It requires some laughter, some commitment, and a lot of love. So thank you, Taff and Sue Cleveland. We're loving the Clevelands. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope all of you will click share and share widely. This is yet another way to increase the amount of love in the world. Thank you all for joining us so much.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
brother.
us.
Lovin' Stuff has a number of couples, but the Clevelands, we love them and we swear by it because right here on Facebook is where they met. And you've heard their commitment, their sacrifice, their love for each other. So my question is, what about you? Are you ready to take some of what the Clevelands have been talking about in these two parts? And I promise I'm going to get them back for a third part. But talking about in these two parts, are you ready to put some of it to your life? Sure, it's custom to them, right? But there are some themes that they've shared over these two shows that you can adopt in your life. Many of them might seem simple, right? To laugh. But think about how many times we, instead of laughing at those that we say we love, we criticize or ridicule them, which erodes the opportunity for a safe space, right? You heard them talk about vulnerability and communication, things that we've heard a ton of times. But until you actually practice listening to those that want to be heard and allowing those that want to help to do just that, until you're open enough to say, whoever is best at it should take the lead on it. Some of these gems can be applied to your relationships tonight, and some of them will require your commitment, sacrifice, and practice as you decide that you're ready to go to the next level. But if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch TV or Twitter, and you see that handsome man, not Taff, that beautiful woman, not Sue, shoot your shot, be vulnerable, guard your heart, pray about it, and be assertive. Lay your offer. Lay your offer in a way that says, this is who I am, and I'm open to exploring who you are. And as Sue said, and who your people are, and they people, and everything that's hidden, so that you have a clear idea of what you're getting yourself into. Who knows? 11 years from now, you may be in the same place that Taff and Sue Cleveland are, in a healthy, loving, affirming relationship with God as the head, and the two of you join together in love. I'm so grateful for this time tonight, and I hope you will share widely. Join us next week as we close out Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We will be celebrating all of the angel warriors. So if you have angel warriors in your life who fought valiantly against breast cancer, but who gained their wings, we want to speak their names. And if you can inbox us a copy of their photo, we will include it in the presentation, but we want you to join us so that we can speak all of their names. We want to make sure that people are aware that there are those that are on the other side, angels on the balcony of heaven, who have given their lives as a result of breast cancer, so that we might be aware that we start to check and test and screen early. African American women are 40% more likely to contract the more aggressive forms of breast cancer and not recover from them. Early detection saves lives. And we just want to bring to your attention that you might be aware to tell your sisters and brothers, your fathers and mothers, your aunts and uncle them to get tested, and to get tested now. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. This is Lovin' Stuff, and I hope you will join us to increase the amount of love in the world. What the world needs now are more Taff and Sue Clevelands. The world needs more love. Will you join us on this journey? I hope you will. Have a great night.
Yeah.